Do you have the work ethic to get there? Anybody can do it as long as they put their mind to it and figure it out.
Yep.
Like any ball player, I think has a chance of playing at least college ball. It's the work ethic they put into it. And the problem is sometimes parents push these kids because they didn't have that shot. They wanted that shot. And now you got little Timmy over here who's burnt out
Yeah.
because he just doesn't want to live daddy's dreams. Welcome to the Banter. I'm Dave. That's Hobbs. Man, it has been a while. I know you've been busy. I've been busy. Uh, let's see. Baseball season is coming down to an end for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, well, I should say the season, but now we're hitting that ever loved stage of youth sports is, uh, tryout season.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, man, I see you. Well, first of all, I see the boy got a little, evil Knievel on people, and decide to just do a little, daredevilish type stuff, and
Man.
made a trip to the hospital. I see.
Yeah. Well, his cousin Caden, who's his age, is in town. He lives in Florida. They don't see
Uh-huh.
each other. They see each other a couple times a year. Uh, so they decided to take Pawpaw's side by side.
Oh,
Caden was driving, not Braden. Braden claims he told him bad idea, not good, but you know, like Pawpaw said, he goes, you can say bad idea, good all you want to, but if you're in the passenger seat and jump in the ride, you're an accomplice right
oh,
then. So, yeah, they got in there. Apparently, they wanted to do their best shake and bake impression.
I hear it.
I guess Caden overcorrected a turn, and
Ooh.
Braden made the mistake of sticking his foot out,
No.
thinking he could stop a side by side from flipping over.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
luckily, they had their seatbelts on, the roll cages in there, so he's milking it now. I've been giving him a hard time about it because he busted like his foot's pretty gnarly, but I was trying to explain to him something like that to compare it to, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and of course I busted out some old pictures of me getting smoked on the mound and my feet and stuff. I'm like, trust me, bud, it could always be worse.
It could,
But
man.
I showed him a couple pictures of my foot. I showed him their ASA Nationals when my hand exploded.
Oh,
Yeah, I showed him a couple good ones. So I think at that point, but yeah, of course, mom was freaking out and stuff. So
oh yeah.
that's exactly how you want to spend 4th of July is getting that hay. Kids are at the ER, but we lucked out there, man. They oddly enough, both of them hurt the same foot, which I'm still trying to wrap my head
Uh-huh.
around how they did that. Uh, you know, top of that foot's got all those blood vessels, and the doctor pretty much explained to him that if it could be busted, it busted. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
he's able to. He's been driving opposite footed and
Yeah.
still hanging out, but now they've decided that VR might be the ticket instead of trying to get on side by side. So
Yeah.
wrestling. They got wrestling camp coming up.
Yeah.
Football camp's about to kick off. So
Yeah.
timing's dumb. It would be, pardon me, it would be unstepped dad of me not to at least call him an idiot once or twice.
Hey,
So
you got to do it. If not,
had
it's
to,
just
but
you
boys will
know.
be boys. We lucked out there. But I told him that, you know, bunting the ball off his face and then
And then this, yeah,
yeah, we need to figure out
just
something that's
chill
at
out
least,
for a little bit,
yeah. I don't like going to the ER. I don't even like walking into a hospital for any reason. So could do
well,
without that.
man. Woo! I know it's been a month since the last one.
God dang,
I
man.
got a lot of good, people talk. I've got a couple messages. Man, I didn't try this place or that place. I took your recommendation. It was pretty good.
Yep.
So, hearing about local eats here in Kansas City, that was a fun episode for me.
Yeah.
Man, it's just, with your time, my time, man, it's just been crazy. The holiday,
Oh, yeah.
just life in general. But back at it, God, there's
Yes.
so much has happened in the world of sport.
Yeah, man. Just
College
crazy
World
stuff.
Series happened. Tennessee
Yes, it
walked
did.
away with it. Uh, Oklahoma and the dynasty they got going out there walked away with the Women's College World Series.
They
It, it's,
didn't even
it's
they didn't even make it dramatic.
no,
Like I thought for sure. Like, they made getting there dramatic. I'm
yeah,
like, all right, we're gonna get like the whole series here.
oh yeah,
And it's just like they just went for the juggle like throat, whatever, jugular right then. They were just
yeah,
like, this is over.
yeah.
We're done. Like,
It's
and it was too
it
funny because like I'm like, is it over? I'm like, it's over. Okay, they're done.
yeah.
They just did what they do.
Uh, you know what? It was. I'm to the point now with, and don't get me wrong, she's done a hell of a program down there, done a hell of a job down there. Everybody wants to go there. I think we've hit the point to where Oklahoma softball is what Alabama football used to be,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
now you have the first one was awesome because you know a team from the Pac-12 didn't win it, a team from the SEC didn't win it, Oklahoma won it.
Yeah.
Hey, they won back to back. Now you're at 4 in a row.
Yeah. Now it's like,
Now everybody's like, okay, we're tired of seeing you.
yep.
Now you're the villain.
Yeah. Let's get UCLA or somebody back in there.
You know, I personally was still happy they beat Texas. I don't care. You know,
Anytime you beat Texas is awesome.
anytime beat Texas is fun. Uh, you know, God, then you have, you know, what was it the other day? Oklahoma and Texas are now officially in the SEC.
Welcome.
Welcome. That conference alone, even adding those two, are just, you know, you can't say, God, it's ridiculous.
It's dumb. Like,
It's a little unfair. Uh, but hey, it's all about that mighty dollar.
dude, and if you run the gauntlet in that, it, like that's like shout out to Tennessee in baseball. Even
Yeah,
before Oklahoma and Texas are there,
yeah,
they ran the whole SEC like they ran through the gauntlet,
yeah.
and you're like they were. I mean, and it was I'm not gonna lie to you that whole I'm not a Texas A&M fan.
Was I was
Mhm.
cheering for him.
Yeah,
I
I was because I don't like I I don't for something about the Vols left me salty last year how they acted,
yeah.
kind of how they were, and although this year
Oh,
the coach had some pretty good sound bites and was pretty chill,
yeah.
and
TV. He can. Yeah,
yeah, and the relief pitcher was the greatest thing ever,
yeah,
and the dude that comes out to stroke me,
yeah,
the Billy Squire song, I don't remember his
yeah.
name, but I kind of like some of that, but I was still like I don't really want them to win this.
My emotional pick, as you would say,
Mm-hmm.
was Florida State.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is about that school, about that program. It's just every time they get there, I want them to win.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh, I had now as much as I didn't want them to go or want them to win. I had picked Tennessee versus UNC for the national championship game.
yeah. I mean,
I
not a
got
bad pick.
Tennessee, but Texas A&M. But I my sleeper, my dark horse was Texas A&M
Yeah,
because they were
man, they
playing
played
legit
well.
ball. Playing legit ball come the end of the season. Almost pulled it out. I thought they were going to. I think the win got taken out of them in game two.
Yeah,
Um, I was a little upset. A lot of people, I guess Florida proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of people they were just let in because they were SEC school,
man, they can bang.
and
Them
then
boys
they
can
came
hit.
to make it all the way to Omaha.
Yeah, I mean they can hit it, man. It's
Yeah,
when you got a top 10 draft pick that can exit speeds. I don't give a shit if you're hitting with composite or not. When you're topping out exit speeds, and then you've got that other kid that's what 6'6" or 6'7" that's down in the lineup that's hitting
yeah.
tanks too, and like just a solid. They always hit, man. That's all. That they always got a pitcher and they always hit.
Well,
Tough
but
division. They play
truthfully,
tough teams.
a ACC, SEC, Omaha, all Omaha teams.
Yep.
What does that tell you about baseball in that general area?
When you can play year round, you're gonna win more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. There's obviously there's more to it than that, but that's always my first thought is when if you're able to, and in programs like that, if you're able to dedicate yourself to be all the indoor work you want, but when you're able to be outdoors with the
Uh-huh.
elements, I think that alone and just like we've talked
Yeah.
about this before, you don't get like cage eyes. You
Yeah.
don't get, like the cage light eyes. You don't get the like
Yeah.
indoor eyes. You get, you're out in the element. There's the wind. There's everything you can do, and like you get to go and do that yearly
Hmm.
outside. I just think it's a major player that people would probably not think, oh, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. Like it
Yeah.
it, it
It's a
matters
huge deal.
like a lot.
It's a huge deal.
It's you know your ballpark better. You know your weather. You know how balls are going to spin.
Yeah.
You know what when the ball's going to run. There's
Yeah.
just a lot to it, man. And you know, there's powerhouse down there. Like to me, it's so hard not to see like the West Coast
It is.
like rolling a
It
bunch of
is.
the like because those teams are there's something about like the swag there
Yeah.
that you just like
Yeah.
they just have a different kind of everyone's got their like thing going on now, but for some of it like the Oregon, Washington, Cali, that side of stuff when it comes to that, they just got that they just seem a little bit
It's,
ahead of stuff, or they've like taken it back where they're like, all
yeah.
right, that was cool for us last year or 2 years ago,
Yeah.
but now we're bringing back something that's like kind of old. Something about it is just man, and I miss seeing like I want to see Cal State for like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to see like the Beavers go back or the Ducks. It would just be cool to see for some of the kids that are getting into college baseball and going to see it. It'd be nice for
Yeah.
them to see a lot of the other schools like on that side instead of this. You see the AC. You're going to see the
Yeah.
ACC and the SEC. You
Yeah.
already know it. You're like, oh
It kills me because like Oregon State, I thought they had a legit chance.
yeah, yeah,
But it just it plays out the way it plays out, man. And unfortunately, I think conference realignment is going to kill uh, a lot of those West Coast schools from in
hmm
baseball because now you're forced to head to the Midwest. Head to across. I mean, God Lord, Stanford's playing in the ACC, so you're going from
right,
one coast to the other coast.
right.
It's college
Yep.
sports, man, has just I don't know if it's ruined or if it's just proof that the money is a root of a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. Was it the ECU coach that went all in on his pitchers?
Yeah.
I mean, he ain't wrong. I'm not gonna.
No.
I might not agree with the whole
No.
thing, but he's not wrong. I mean, the suit. It's sad. Like, well, fuck. Perfect example. Look at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Coach
Like
coaches coach gives his rah rah go team. I'm here, and
I'm
then
here.
24 hours later, I'm getting SEC money from Texas. I'm out, and
Him
then
and his staff
yeah, and then
and
best
some of
best
the
player, best hitter on the team. About what was it? I just tweeted out like super loyal. This is forever my home. Gone transfer portal.
yeah.
I'm like, wow, like that. I'm like, man, just like and I'm all for. Don't get me wrong. I want kids to be able to, you know, I'm glad that there's a way they can make money now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the system that they've created is it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest because, it's hard for any smaller schools
Uh-huh.
to even even fucking sniff Texas money or Bama money, or you're not going to do it. Or like in
No.
football, trying to go and play around with Ohio State money.
Yeah.
The boosters
Yeah.
alone, man, it's just, and
Which
there's no loyalty anymore. Which
yeah.
you're on a team, man. These are your teammates, and like I got to look out for myself, and you do you. But at the
Uh-huh.
same point, it's like, are you trying to build something or not? Like, there's a part of this that's still the team part of it. Like, unless
Yeah.
you're a Paul Skeens
Yeah.
or a game changing dynamic guy that can actually change a game by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you need your teammates. It's a team
Yeah.
sport, and to see them consistently just fucking bail
Mm-hmm.
on the guy that was right next to you going to battle with you every year, and like, you can't tell me that every one of them is just like, yeah, high five, you go do you.
Uh-huh.
There's at some point it's like, man, I want everybody to be successful too, and I don't want to hold anybody back. But
Yeah.
there was a couple guys I saw that had transferred where they were starters
Mm-hmm.
to being the seventh hitter or a pinch hitter,
Yep.
and I'm like, dude, it is it worth it? Like, it,
Well, it which kind of leads me into what I really want to talk about today. Uh is the overall, how would you say, the overall just view of youth sports. And the reason why is because we are coming up to tryout season,
mm-hmm,
and you talk about loyalty,
yep,
and we talk about the almighty dollar.
mm-hmm,
We talk about just, we live in a culture, society of instant gratification. Nobody has a tendency, it's like, who is the next big thing? What is the next big program I want to go to or be a part of, or anything like that? And it's crazy because I don't know how much. I mean, I'm sure you follow some or you see some on social media. I don't know how much, as far as what you follow, as far as any of the big, perfect games, the PBRs, the stuff like that. But it's like, you come up onto these seasons, you play a season, you take a bunch of kids, you work with them. Sometimes it can be successful. Sometimes it's, you may win one or two games all season.
yeah,
Are we to a point where youth sports is losing its luster of what's best for the kids and becoming almost a social status for parents? It's saying, oh, well, my son or my daughter plays for so and so, or my son or my daughter plays for so and so, or we
yeah,
belong to this organization, we belong to that organization, where kids are just almost as bad. It's almost like a transfer portal.
yeah,
Team hopping here, team hopping there. Well, hey, it's tryout season, and little Timmy over here is on his fourth year in his fourth team, just because mom and dad think the gas is greener on the other side.
right.
So I want to hear some of your take on what the landscape of youth sports is in your eyes, and see, because I know I have a lot of take, and maybe some things I should keep quiet about,
Yeah.
but some things should be said. But
So
it's like, I don't understand the landscape anymore, where parents who complain about kids, or their kid, they want their kids to develop, but yet when even though their team, you know, the coach they're with develops them or anything like that, that it's not happy enough. And I, just like, you could be, for instance, I know someone who, you know, God won almost every tournament they played in,
yep,
you know, but coaches losing players because parents are complaining about playing time.
yep.
or hey, there you have a group of parents who are happy because the kids are playing, and what kind of culture we teach them?
Yeah. I I my first I'm gonna go right into the parents first. So from the outside looking in, because Braden's older now,
Uh
and
huh.
but from just me being around it, A, from selling ball bats, so seeing quite a bit of it from that, and
Mm-hmm.
B, like observations, because I've always been around ball fields, so I've always kind of been around and just kind of, but I always kind of, on Facebook, that's the best thing about Facebook is there's
Yeah.
groups you can be on and have absolutely no ties to anybody, but do your homework to stay in it and stuff.
Yeah.
My first thing about, and I'm going to start it with A, triple A, double
Oh
A, fucking quadruple A, fucking
yeah.
17 A's, AAA and a Z. I don't give a shit. Uh, all of that to me, that's great. But it started. That's where I get you want to trying to make your levels of where you're at and stuff.
Yeah.
I think so many people get caught up in that
Uh huh.
because then like and I'll go more into this, but like to me it's like, all right, so say little Tommy is in on a triple A team and he probably should be on a single A team technically,
Yeah.
but or a whatever fucking A they go up to. Say he's on a fucking major fucking Royal slash Dunkin' Donuts slash fucking whoever, and say he's on that team, and then like he's on there because A, folks paid out of their ass to get him there.
Yeah.
B, and it's not the kid's fault 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Probably great
Yeah.
kid. They don't know no better. They're just trying to play ball.
Yeah.
But with that, there you're a sports guy, I'm a sports guy. Tons of parents, lots of parents out there. Not taking anything about it from any of them that are sports people, but
Yeah.
there are basketball mom and dads, there are
Yeah.
football mom and dads, there are baseball mom and dads, there are hockey mom and dads,
Yeah.
and every other sport mom and dads, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to see little Tommy or
Uh,
little Nicky. And it's easy as a parent because that is your pride and joy
yeah.
to perceive your pride and joy as Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
or Mike Trout
Mike Trout.
or
Yeah.
Jocelyn O or, Sue Bird or whoever the fuck you want to
Yeah.
be. And I think a lot of times what I saw, one of the worst things I saw is there are the parents that want their kids to get better, and then there are parents that think their kids are already better.
Yeah.
So they have a false perception of
Yeah.
what that is. And they might be out like, and that's where I'm going with this. They might be
Yeah.
athlete parents, but that don't mean they're baseball parents.
Yeah.
In high school, you might have been a great athlete. You could have been a fucking 1,500-yard rusher in high school, went to college, played football, and dedicated your life to it. That whole
Yep.
time you were doing that, you might have tuned into a baseball game or two on television, maybe 20. You might have
Uh-huh.
played in a fantasy baseball league. That's great.
Yeah.
That don't fucking mean that you know a shit about a shit on that baseball field as far as like where
Yeah.
you're at talent wise, like where those
Yeah.
kids are at. And I don't mean that bad, but it's a fact because I mean you've seen it, I've seen it, everybody's
Yeah.
seen it. You're like
Yeah.
you hear about this kid,
Yeah.
they're and you hear this thing, and then they come in there, and you're like, and you're fucking you mean it well, but you're just dumb fucking founded
Yeah.
by the perception of what is like for them, and then the
Yeah.
perception of what you're really seeing, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, and then you get and it's a bad spot to be in. So you have, I
It's
feel
called
like,
real. People
what's up?
are. I was gonna say it's more like I think people because we all do that.
Yeah.
It's like we have, but I think the difference is you look at your kids one way,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to youth sports, I think a lot of people get confused of what they may want and what's realistic.
Exactly. It's there's an unrealistic perception of where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, and
You
then
know,
go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like saying, like you said, little Tommy, just because he bats 4-hole,
Hmm?
he's a starting shortstop, and he does real well, and then, you know, little Timmy's team that was brought onto the team, and his old team, he was the shortstop
Yeah,
and batted 4-hole, and now parents are happy because little Timmy's playing second base and batting like 7th hole.
yeah,
And
and
it's like you have to be realistic in saying, what is little Timmy not doing that little Tommy is?
yeah,
Or,
and is it
you
is
know,
it is it little Tommy's? Is it little Tommy's swinging? You know, getting 500 swings a week, and little
yeah,
Timmy's playing fucking
yeah,
VR. Is it?
yeah,
And that comes into it too. I feel like with any youth sport, like there, and then there's an age gap, man. There's different. You think of it. There's parents our age
yeah.
where we're still fucking. How many times you hear us in softball? Because it's a perfect example. You see the adults. It's the same adults that would when we said play up to get better,
Uh-huh.
and then they would throw a fit if any of us were in a league. Like if you played league because this is a rec league, how come that team's there?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It's the
Yeah,
same. That same dynamic goes into if they're throwing a fit about it on this. You
yeah,
goddamn know just well they're going to do it with it's the same thing with their kids.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
and in youth sports, it's that way. It's like, and it is a status thing. It is like you can't speak for
I
all of them because I know there's a lot of parents and stuff out there that's trying to get their kids on the best team they think's possible.
yeah.
But at the
I
same
think
time, there's
go
probably a
ahead.
lot of vicariously living through still going on there
I think that's a
where
lot of it.
where dad needs him to be on this team and have this jersey, and oh, you're not going to play my kid, so I'm going to bounce to this team. But then, hey, we're collecting all of the major
Uh-huh.
whatever single. I don't fucking know any whatever jersey it is. We've got every one of the Berserk jerseys. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out Berserk, sweet jerseys all around,
Oh
all
yeah.
four teams.
Yeah,
Exactly,
we
all
we
four
we,
camps.
we gonna do some chat. I was gonna do. Usually we do it at the beginning. I was gonna hold it to the end.
Right,
You
all
know, all
four.
your all your
Yeah,
full
all
custom team uniform needs.
exactly. And
The
you'll have a
hoodie.
kid that got all four of them sweet jerseys from all four different academies or camps or teams or whatever the hell they all are now. And it's like, okay. And you're like, man, it's just it goes down to it's like quit if you're on a solid team that has a decent that's winning
Yeah,
and the kids are growing,
yeah,
long story short, see what's happening, see the growth,
yeah.
see the growth of the entire team. Don't just look at little Timmy, look at little Tony and little this guy and this guy. Look at the team growing. Where were they at the beginning of the season? Where were they
Uh
at in the
huh.
middle? Where are we at now? Are we finishing on a strong point? Are the averages going up? Are the little
Yeah,
things getting better? Are we growing something
yeah,
here? Look at that, and then don't say, well, I'm going to go jump to this squad because they've already got 11 kids on their team that are already this developed,
uh huh,
and I'm going to shell out this much fucking money.
uh
Take
huh,
that money, put it into the hitting lessons, put it into the fielding, put it into the
uh huh.
kid. Like, invest in the kid, let him decide what team he wants to be on.
Yeah,
Maybe he likes the team he's on. Maybe that's who he wants to be with. Maybe he likes to grow with it. Don't just say, "Oh, we're taking him to this," because I know that
yeah.
I've seen that happen too. It's like, man, take
Well,
if see the dynamic as a whole. Like, is it growing? Are we going places? Now, if you're on something where, like anything, the culture's getting toxic, you got fucking drama.
big
You got
time.
a lot of outside noise and bullshit, and then that's justifiable for leaving. But like, I think a lot of it is driven by bullshit emotion. A lot of it is not seeing the big picture of if it's growing or not. Like, are you doing
Yeah,
what's best for your kid, or are you doing what's best for you?
yeah.
You know, is it for the name? And like you said, it's a clout thing. I mean,
Hmm.
it's no different than this kid wears all Nike, and that shit don't go. We might be fucking 40. There's still people that way when they're fucking 70. Man, you see people every day that are still like that.
Well, I think like today nowadays, I think, and I'm going to I'm going to talk about a little bit about my experiences, uh, not just with my current team, but just with past teams. I think what boils down to is this. I think it comes to a point with age
Mhm.
that parents need to realize either the kids want it or they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Why why shell out money? I would say past 12U, 12,
Mhm.
12 and under. Why shell out the money for stuff like organizations and travel and the tournament and the gas to and from and food if they don't want to do the extra stuff to compete at that level or compete in, I'm not just but like competitive sports.
Yeah,
Like, what's the point of having your kid like sit there and go home, doesn't sits on the couch all day, you know may go out every once in a while because mom or dad forced them to go out to hit off a tee,
yeah,
or mom or dad forced them to go out to play catch. I think it comes a time when you're 13 years old, 14 years old on up, where if you can't self motivate yourself, it comes to a point of how bad you want it, then maybe the comp side of the sport is not for you. Not
right.
saying that playing the sport is not for you either, but that's why we have, as a lot of people like to say, is that's why we have rec ball. That way you can show up to practice 1 or 2 times a week for your hour, hour and a half. You can go to league games, enjoy yourself, and yet where you're not feeling pressure of, okay, I'm on a team, all my teammates are putting in, you know, extra 2 hours, outside of practice, extra 2 hours a day to get better. So when the weekend comes, they're all prepared and ready to go. But here I
Yeah,
am, sat on my ass all day and played PlayStation or Xbox or
yeah,
whatever else it is, and flipped through the TV and didn't put in the work, and then complaining because I'm not starting. I'm complaining because I'm batting at the bottom of the lineup, or complaining because I can't do this or do that. And then I think what happens is you have parents who are not being realistic, and some do, is saying, okay, well, let's go take you somewhere else.
yeah. Of
Or I'll take you and start up my own team, and you're going to be the man. You're going to be the man on our team.
course, of course.
And I had to have the same conversation with my boy, but I think the difference is I'm real realistic with them. Look, man, you're you know you're at an age where it's either A, you get stronger, you get faster, you throw harder, or you're gonna fall behind.
Yeah,
And then you're just gonna weed yourself out of the game like a lot of other kids do. Doesn't mean that you still don't have a passion for it,
yeah,
but eventually it's gonna catch up to you, and there's not gonna be a team for you because coaches want the kid who's stronger, the kid who can throw harder, the kid who can hit harder, the kid can run faster.
yeah. And you and
It,
me have had this talk where it boils down with you, like you said, 12U is a good spot because that's when those talks need to start happening because
uh-huh.
teenage boys at that point, you're running into the high school level and stuff. You us as coaches or parents or anything with kids to me, or even if they're not your kids, as a leader
Mhm.
of, if you're in anything with the youth, like boys, girls, anything, one of the things you notice about when you find like those athletes, those kids that really want it,
Yep.
is they're the ones that are the first ones there. They're the ones that are watching the sport when they're not
Mm-hmm.
playing it. They're actively going, or you see them at the sport, like,
Yep.
you see them, or they're talking about it. You overhear them talking to their
Mm-hmm.
buddies. You drive by and they don't realize that they're out smacking the ball around, or they're always working at something, and you find kids like that. And then you also find those kids that competitive parts there, where they have to hate losing more than they love winning. And when you
I think
find kids like, yeah, you find those kids, and they get that in them, or if they have that in them, then the push isn't there. But I think, like you and me have talked about before, it's they hit a certain age where you want to push your kid to be great
yeah.
and
Yeah.
be better. But
Yeah.
that's like what you're saying. Sometimes the reality of it is it might not be sport.
Mm-mm.
And you can I actually had this talk with Ashley, and it's funny. So you see the potential in kids, and you know how good they
Oh
could
yeah.
be,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't matter how good they can be if they don't want to be that good, or if they don't
Mm-hmm.
care if they're that good.
Yeah.
And I know that's tough on any parent or coach, but that's a reality that we all have to accept. You have to fucking chew on it and deal with it. Like, and it
Yeah.
sucks, but there's no matter what team you bounce that kid to, that kid's not going to change the
Mm-hmm.
fact that
Mm-hmm.
that's not what he wants to do, or he doesn't care if he's could be this, because maybe it's the PlayStation, maybe
Yep.
it's the computer, and that's where, as a parent, as a coach, as whatever it is, that's tough. It's tough because that's growing for us, growing for coach, growing. That's one of those situations where you have to support your kid, and you want to push them to be great. And it's just like
Uh-huh.
you're saying. I love that Braden likes baseball.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example. I love that Braden likes baseball. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's no secret. I'm in the stepdad role, but I'm 98% of any man fathership he's got. Me and his papa are the two 98 percenters, or I would say, between the two of us, when it comes to who pushes him, or like who
Yeah.
keeps him going.
Yeah.
He's at the age that he has to decide, and I've
You
talked to a
figure it
lot,
out.
like I've talked to Esther, he has to decide on his own.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I push him, how much Papa pushes him, we can push and push and push. But at the end of the day, it's not us that has to do it. It's not us gonna.
Exactly.
We've had our time. If
Yeah.
our
Exactly.
love for it is not his love for it, and if he
Yeah.
likes it, and he continues to play it in high school like he does, he's a solid ball player.
Uh-huh.
He don't want If he don't want to be great at it, he don't want to be
Uh-huh.
great at it. That it is what it
Yeah.
is. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say, all right, Ashley, we're moving to a 1A school that's only won 2 games in the last, 4 years,
Yeah.
so that Braden
Yeah.
can be the man, because
Yeah.
all of a sudden his skill level is above that just off the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going
Yeah.
to spend all this money and up my entire family and go, okay, we're going to go here because I want Braden to be the best player. I want
Yeah.
Braden to hit third. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be. They need those at that age. If it's just like you're saying, if they want to be good at it, they
They
need to
have to
be
do it.
accountable to
Yes.
come to you, come to the coach. And I know when you're a kid, it makes you nervous to like go up and say, hey, I want more work and
Yeah.
stuff. But that's
Yeah.
why you come to dad. That's why you come to mom and say,
Yeah.
Mom, I really want to do this. I want to be, and that's how that's they have to do that, or you have to get that. You
Yeah.
can't just push them to do something, because you've seen as well as I do. We can push them because we know they can be great at something,
Uh-huh.
but if they don't want to be great at that, and they want to be great at something else, then it's our job to switch gears there and say, this is what you want to be great at. This is what you love. Yeah. Okay. Well, guess what? Then this is what we're going to push you at. This is what we're going to
Yep.
have you be great at. This is what we're going to help you be
Yep.
great at. If it ain't this, I'm not changing every dynamic of what we're doing. I'm not moving you over here if it ain't this, because this is your decision. You've decided this ain't it. We see it, but we don't want to see it, and that's one of the big
Yeah.
problems I think too is they don't want to see what it is because they don't want to accept it. Because no, it's not every parent, but no parent or coach, you don't want to see your kid not want to do what you wanted to do, or you
Oh
don't want
yeah.
to see them love something that you don't love, because
No.
in a way everybody's a little selfish, and when the apple don't fall far from the tree,
Yeah.
sometimes it does, and that interest ain't the same. Or you're in my situation, you're like, or you and me, we come into it with the love that they have for something that might not have been something that that was ours,
Yeah.
possibly, or a
Yeah.
different situation. And it's our job to do what we do, and push them to what we see they
Uh
love.
huh.
And if this
Yeah.
ain't it, this ain't it. And that's the tough thing is it's like, but don't up, and that's where we're going. Don't up and reroute somebody and like
No.
pick a different team and shit. Go to this route because of that, man. Because no matter what, you're not helping that kid out. You're having him do something he don't want to do.
Yeah.
And on that
I
team, it ain't going to do any different. The jersey's going to be sweet. Don't get me wrong. And he might be on the team where he starts and you build the team. But if you win 3 games or you don't win a single fucking tournament and you two and barbecue every weekend, and the kid's like, this is stupid as shit. What did you accomplish? I mean, come on, Dad, come on. What did you really get there? Little guy don't like it any more than he did. Now he might like it less. And instead of pushing it somewhere you wanted it, we're the other direction. But hey, I rubbed elbows with so and so at the academy ball. So what's up? What's up, Dad?
well,
No,
it's like what I've seen, and it amazes me. And I know the age group dealing with it is different. You know the times nowadays are different than say you and I. I
yeah,
think what the problem is now is we have kids who enjoy playing the sport, but don't have a passion for the sport.
no, no,
They don't have they love to play but don't have a passion. And when I say uh y- people may not understand the difference. The difference is I love to play. I woke up wanted to play. That's the sport I wanted to play. I love playing baseball. I love playing basketball. I had a passion for them. I loved playing football, but I didn't have a passion for football.
right?
When the understanding is like I lived, I ate, and I breathed baseball. When
Yeah.
even to this day,
Oh yeah. When
I'm,
that I
I'm that way with basketball. When I went through grade school, middle school, high school, played high. It's like I'd sit there and can watch it all day long. I'd go out there, and you had your teams, you had your favorite players, you could tell them the stats, you could tell them this and that. I think that has gone away because a prime example of something is what I say is I use it. I have this conversation with my boys saying, I understand you love to play, but do you have the passion?
yeah,
And,
exactly.
and what do you mean by passion? It's meaning like if I sit down and have a baseball game on, and mom is sitting downstairs and she has Star Wars on, are you gonna sit up here and watch the game with me? You're gonna run downstairs and see Star Wars.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
If
and
you're
it's
running
I
downstairs, then you don't have that. And I'm not saying that's wrong because we all
no.
have our likes and dislikes. But I'm saying you're not sitting up there saying, "Okay, I'm watching the game to learn. Like I'm
Yep.
watching the game because I play short. Say like I'm playing shortstop,
Hmm.
so I want to sit here and watch Bobby Witt Jr.
Exactly.
Play shortstop and go, okay, he did that. Okay, he did that. Why do watch the approach of batters? See, I think that's when you go outside. I think what's gone, and this is what amazes me with the group what I who I coached, this season. What amazes me, and I had this conversation with another coach that I feel like when I was that age, and I'm sure you may feel this way too at the age 12, 13, 14, where game time scenarios and just the overall aspect of the game is lost.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's because what happens is we have lost, as the other coach and myself tells us, we have lost that backyard wiffle ball style of playing ball. I think what happens is now you don't have these kids who like to go outside and how fun it was that you played those wiffle balls. It got you in those scenarios.
Yeah,
How
oh
many
yeah.
times with wiffle ball did you get in a rundown?
I
Quite a
yeah.
bit.
I was about to say
Right.
if I had $1 for every time that we had we didn't even have gloves sometimes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one of the buddy's little sisters. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
can sit here right now to this right now, and I can tell you, I remember this like it was yesterday. My old friend Cody Kettner and I, at his house, right in his front yard, he had a little basketball court,
Uh-huh.
and he had his front yard, and his little sister Kayla
Uh-huh.
being in a rundown, and us playing pickle back and forth in the front yard for hours.
Hour. See,
And just hours. I remember with
we
wiffle ball, it was we'd be at the Lawson swim pool with the
uh-huh.
little floater board.
Uh-huh.
That floater board instantly the stairs turned into the plate. That floater board was a bat. If you hit it all onto the side of the pool, it was a bomb. You
Yeah.
had bases. We had tennis, baseball, dude. If it could be swung like a ball bat, and we
Yep.
could find a base, whether it was long base or three
Yeah.
bases.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what we were doing it. And like
All right.
pickles, guy on second and third, every one of those guy on ghost man. Ain't nobody know no shit about no ghost runners now.
Man,
How many ghost runners did you throw out at the plate and argue with
it
your buddy about he didn't score on a single out in the right field or something?
absolutely amazes me because I would say uh it was this past summer, and my boy was out front and he had two of his buddies. And they were out front in the driveway and they were sitting here, and I was all like, okay, I'm gonna take my lunch break. I'm gonna go outside and see what these knuckleheads are doing. They're outside, they're jacking around, and they're like, "What are you guys doing, man? Half the time you're on your phone. Like, you guys are just sitting here, hi, hi, he, and walking back before, from my driveway to their driveway." Like, I said, dude, like, why don't you guys like play some home run derby? Well,
Right?
we don't. Hey, we got wiffle balls. We got
Always
wiffle ball
dinger
bats.
derby. Yep.
Hey, whoever hits it in the air across the street in the other
Yep.
yard, home run.
Goes over the trampoline, dinger.
Goes over this,
Goes
home
over
run.
the
If it's
creek.
on the line ground ball,
Yep.
man, they
Yep.
were like, really? I'm like, dude, like that occupied them for 2 hours.
It's
And
funny you say that.
then all of a sudden, then they want to move to the backyard and play like a little makeshift game with three of them. I'm like,
Yep.
well, how we do that? And I was all like, well, this is what you do.
You just
Ghost
make
runner.
it up.
What's a ghost runner?
Yep.
Dude, you can play wiffle ball, one
Absolutely.
on one with ghost runners.
So it's funny you say that. So the last year, so Braden and the boys 13 and 14-year-old year, right? One of our practices,
Uh-huh.
I literally busted out the wiffle ball bat and the balls and a couple wiffle ball
Yeah.
bats, and they looked to me like, what are we doing? And I'm like, we're gonna play wiffle ball. I mean, we don't need no bats, don't need no baseball bats. We just need these wiffle balls and the bats. We don't need gloves. You don't need to go out in that outfield. We don't need the outfield. We're just gonna play old school wiffle ball. And it was, to me, they were old enough that you would have thought they played it a lot more. But
They
just
don't.
how brand new it was to them, like as far as how they acted with it, like
Yeah.
it was like a new shiny thing. Even if they'd played it and played it in gym class and
Yeah.
stuff, it's like they forget that it's like there all the time. Like there's
It
always
is.
the opportunity to do it.
it's like when I was talking to that coach and we made that same comment. It's like the the days of playing backyard wiffle ball to help understand the game or learn the game is long gone.
Oh yeah,
I'm
oh yeah.
not used to like it's like you said pickle. We used to do the same thing, but we call it hot box.
Hot box and pickle. Yep,
And, and basically, you set one base up, and you had three players, and it was let's try to get to this day, without
yep,
getting caught. And whoever ended up swiping the most at the end, and it'd be three, you just rotate it. Dude, we'd
yeah.
be outside all day doing that.
Well, and you think that we had 500
Yep.
where you throw the
Indian
ball up?
ball.
Yep, Indian ball could only hit it on one side of the bag. If I had a
And
dollar for every dinger derby we had, took the bucket of balls out on the mound and just mashed.
but not only that, it's just like it goes to the fact I think it's like, I think the open field when you guys say, oh, we're going out there to play flag football, two-hand touch, and it turns into tackle. The fact that, those things have gone in the past time because the toughness in kids are going
Yeah,
out and playing basketball in the street
yeah,
and just stuff like that. Like you working, like, okay, when you were out there competing against older kids as a younger kid, because you were the youngest kid in the neighborhood and they let you play, but they beat you up and you'd come back, I'm going to prove you wrong this time.
yeah,
It amazes me how youth sports has lost a lot of that, and everything is getting like these kids are almost becoming like robots because of lessons and
yeah,
not a natural flow to them, a natural instinct to the game. It's like I have been graced and being around kids that I was like prior to this one is saying I had this group of kids. I worked with these group of kids that kind of knew what they were doing at this age. The team that I have this year is they drove me. It was a roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride because you want to see the kids succeed, you want to see them do it. But it amazed me how some of these kids, it's like didn't quite understand the makeup of the game,
yeah,
the simple plays. Even playing catch was iffy.
yeah,
And I'm like, I go back to the days like the hand-eye coordination, the stuff like that. How, it's like me. I remember growing up and being bored, going outside because during my time they like get outside,
yeah.
and you would find an axe handle, a broomstick, or something, and find rocks, acorns, your hand-eye coordination, throw them up, try to hit, or just take stuff and throw it. Like that was the thing. I
Dude,
mean, find
oh
a
yeah.
tennis ball, find a cement wall, and just throw it and just play catch with yourself.
I spent my entire childhood at my grandma's house with every type of wiffle ball bat or
Yep.
stick or
Yep.
anything that I could put duct tape on to make them go farther.
Yeah.
And there was a field across from my grandma's house. And that field, every fucking rock ever in my grandma's
Oh.
driveway, like
Uh,
by the time when I started to where I ended in the
yeah.
years and years of me doing it, and this is up until I was held damn near, I probably was still doing it. I still remember doing it probably when I was about 17. I had probably hit almost all of the rocks out of that driveway. And
Well,
every time was different, man. I was Daryl Strawberry, Frank Thomas, Jose
Frank, Tuck,
Canseco,
you,
Ken
you
Griffey
go down the
Jr.,
line.
Ricky Henderson, Julio Franco, you name it. I
You,
was every single batting stance. I was every single thing. And it goes back to, you say passion, and it made me laugh when you said that. Just where I'm sitting. I mean, and me and Ashley have had to talk about if when you're passionate about it and a love for it and the difference. And I always explain it to her, and she knows it anyway. But passion's a perfect example of this. Is I'm sitting in my pretty much in my dining room right now at a at a
uh-huh.
at a folding out table with probably about $2,000 worth of baseball cards that I've been sorting out. Yeah, that I sell on eBay. So there's probably a couple grand worth of baseball cards. Red Sox Yankees ending on the television on the
Yeah.
big TV, while on the card table is literally a Boston Red Sox blanket. While next to me are baseball cleats. While next to it are, you know, is literally tennis balls for baseball, and it's like
And it's
it's
like the glove
yeah,
collections.
it's
Like the old
exactly
school,
exactly, and the
you know,
passion,
the old school wood bat,
yeah,
a new
it's
style bat.
that's what
I
I said.
mean,
I'm looking behind you, and I'm like, and it's that passion that you cannot teach that.
no,
You can pass it on. You
yeah.
can you can teach your kids about the game. You can teach your kids the right way to play the game,
Well,
but you can't teach them to love the game, and that's any game.
and
They
that's
have to love it themselves.
I think when it comes to youth sports, and I say this to a lot of things is I think what happens is I think what's ruining, or I wouldn't even say ruining or putting a monkey wrench in youth sports is adults.
Yeah, for sure.
Reason why I say that is because you put a team of 10-year-olds together. They go out there, they can lose every game. You know what? You pull them off the field, they ain't worried about that game. They're worried about, you always have that team meeting afterwards. They're 10
Oh
years
yeah.
old. They ain't gonna they're not retaining any of that.
Yep.
They're worried about what size of icy they're gonna get from the concession stand, or
Yep.
if what time they play next, if they're gonna be able to eat a snow cone and have some nachos beforehand.
Yep.
It's the parents. The parents are sitting here worried, oh well, I got a little Timmy over here and his team you know, is 0-20, but yet if you ask little Timmy if he's having fun, he's like, I'm having a blast. I'm playing baseball with my friends. But mom and dad are mad because the team isn't winning, and little Timmy's over here playing right field and batting in the ninth hole.
Yeah.
And let me say this, like, parents, anybody out there, quit like making your kids believe that because they get put in the outfield as a punishment.
It's not.
Coaches,
Yeah.
coaches, coaches, quit using that as a spot for the weakest kids. Sometimes
Yep.
don't get me wrong. You got to put them out there, and some of the weakest kids do go out there. Don't get me wrong, because I'm guilty of it too. But at the same time, it's like, don't use it as a punishment, because it's not a punishment, because
No.
I wouldn't put you out there if I didn't think you could at least do the job.
Right.
These kids are going out to right field. Look at who plays in right field.
Yeah. Remind the kids. There's guys like, I don't know, Tatis, that was an
Aaron Judge.
infielder that's now an outfielder. Aaron Judge,
Yeah,
Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Acuna, Soto, and the list goes
yeah.
on and on. Every guy you love to watch probably plays outfield. Or hell,
My
some of
favorite
the look at
player.
some of
Look,
the
I
girl
was
outfielders, man.
I was an infielder my whole life. I knew how to play outfield.
Yeah.
My favorite player, I played infield. Played every position on the infield. My favorite player was an outfielder.
Yeah.
I wanted to run center field like he did.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
It's a perception that, like, tale as old as time, man. And you see them like they think it's a punishment, and you're like, man,
And don't get me wrong.
enjoy
Like
it.
I said, I'm guilty of it. I tell
Everybody is.
some of the weakest players you have to put in a spot that maybe you feel that they can handle it,
Yeah.
but understand that maybe you're playing the odds of the ball going that way.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm putting you out there to say, okay, you're punishing that what it is. Here's
Yeah.
the difference: is I'm sorry, you're not developed enough to play shortstop.
Yeah.
If you were, I would feel you put you in the shortstop, you could play first base. Are you developed enough? Can you catch the ball because there's no footwork to play first base? No, but can you go out there and catch a pop up? Yes. Can you track down a ball and get it in? Yes. So, I sit there and myself said that's why this season was hard, because I was gifted kids
Yeah.
that knew how to play, where all I had to do was kind of sit back and kind of babysitting guide.
Mm-hmm.
Where myself this year, I feel like at times it's like I didn't put forth the effort sometimes because I was used to doing things one way, and I didn't adjust too late in the season.
Yeah.
And maybe some of my players suffered, and that as a coach, I say, and maybe that's a lot of coaches need to do is look at themselves as I faulted. That's my fault.
And that's the
And that's
evolution.
part of being a coach. That's part
Yeah.
of saying, there was something I should have did. But also,
Yeah.
I will sit there and say, here's what a lot of things that parents don't get, and a lot of parents need to understand is when you as a coach hear your players say, "I can't," or "I don't do it in my all time," or "I'm just," in exact words, you know, I just prefer to be lazy. It's hard to take that energy and teach a kid something
Yeah.
than it is to say the kid that puts in the time and work more with them because they have a goal to where they want to go.
Exactly.
I don't fault a kid. Like if a kid, I don't, if a kid wants to play baseball, I'm going to teach him how to play baseball. I'm going to work with him how to play baseball.
Yeah.
I think what happens is I let my what I was used to in the past to my own experiences and saying at this age group that I didn't adjust to what's the timeline is the way kids are nowadays.
Mhm.
Even I say 10 years ago, kids were different than they are now.
Yeah.
And, I should have adjusted sometimes. And even compared to my team last year, where the boys, the younger boys were able to, you put them out there, they figured it out.
Yeah.
You just had to coach time to time. You did the coaching at practices.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I ever had to say, hey, you got to do it this way, this way, this way, this way. Like these kids actually kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So it made it pretty simple. It's like, okay, pull you aside, coach you this way.
Yep.
Talk to you about doing this. Make corrections in practices of what we saw.
Yeah.
To understanding simple things like double cuts, things like that. To where, I go, I think a lot of coaches, I think people who coach and, have to learn to adjust. And like I said, I think I may have faulted because I adjusted too late.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, when you're a coach and you hear a player says, I can't do it
Yeah.
on the field. And your brain is wired one way on how to coach players, and you're used to dealing with certain players that never say that.
Mm-hmm.
And your first reaction is saying, okay, if you can, I'm taking you out.
Yeah.
There's no sense keep you back there. I think that's I think that's the hard part. That was like my growth throughout the year that I had to reflect on myself. Is saying, okay, did I take the time to say, okay, now you can occur like I've never, one thing I noticed too with a lot of kids is the confidence. I don't think kids have the confidence that they're used to having. I think
And
and I think like myself, as I sit there and said, that the time and the era where I grew up, we didn't have single A, double A, triple A major open. I didn't you basically well I take them everything was open.
yeah.
You excuse me, I was used to being 10, 9-year-olds playing with 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds playing with 12-year-olds, 12-year-olds playing with 13, 13 playing with 14.
Yeah.
Then going on to high school and playing older,
Yeah.
being a freshman, playing JV and playing against juniors and seniors and practicing against that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happened is we've given everybody a place to play, and it's more accepted. Where when I played, the weaker players started to weed themselves out. Conversation with Joe. You hit a pinnacle, they start dropping. At another age, you get more that drop. Now you get to the age, it's like I think what people need to realize, I think where we get lost in youth sports is okay. Little Timmy over here is 12 years old. He, you know, mom and dad's not happy, but little Timmy really doesn't care. He
Yeah.
just Oh, well, we take him to hitting lessons. Is he doing anything outside of hitting lessons? No. Well, he should be batting higher. Okay, but little Timmy just goes to appease you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, since he's not playing over here, we're gonna take him over here.
Yeah. And
You know, like you
is
said
little Timmy
earlier.
wanting to go to hitting lessons, or is mom and dad saying, little Timmy, you're gonna go to hitting lessons?
Yeah.
You know.
You know, just because you got little Timmy on a major team doesn't mean he's a major, he has the talent to play at that level. Maybe he'll be more successful and play at A level. Maybe he needs to be taken out of that realm of competitive style ball and say, let's go. And this is where I think nowadays is so back and forth is saying, let's go put you on a rec team to where you can learn the game a little bit. But then here comes the fact. What happens is then people start complaining, well, rec ball is nothing more than daddy ball. And my biggest argument is this, people always say look down on daddy ball. Just because he's a dad and his kid plays on his team, this kid does this. What does your kid do? Hold on. How do you know that his dad did not play college ball at some level?
Right.
Played
Exactly.
above high school ball. I know guys that absolutely played no more than cut their freshman year of high school. Didn't play after that, but loved the game so much, and it turned out to be some of the best coaches I know
Yeah.
on the youth ball scene.
Yeah.
Use your resources.
Exactly. Yes.
Just because, you know, this whole I guess it's like this whole mantra of daddy balls is negative. How many people I sit there say that how many of the people out there to this day, this very day, how many pro ball players played ball for their dads growing up?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
How many of these players, if something's wrong or they're messing up in a slump or they're having a hard time, who do they call to come help fix stuff?
Right. Who
Dad.
throws to him? Who throws to him in home run derbies?
Dad.
Yep. Well, and the funny thing is, like in Daddy Ball, the perception's so funny because like half the time you see it, and everyone assumes that means their kid's going to bat lead off and play shortstop, or bat third and play shortstop. I'll tell you what, like I got to coach Braden as a stepdad assist in 2 years, and I was harder on him than anybody else, and it wasn't in a good way, and I'll admit that. So like,
Yeah.
had I had my own son,
Yeah.
Daddy Ball for me would not have been Daddy Ball like anybody's thinking. I would have. I know how I am. I know how I would have been. It's like, so I mean, if my kid wasn't up to par, sure
Yeah.
I'm his dad and he's on my team. But he sure as shit
Yeah.
ain't batting in the top of my lineup if he's making himself look like an asshole and not getting any better. Now if
See,
he's working and
and
getting better, good. He's gonna earn it. If he's not,
and yeah, I
and
think that's
even in
where
rec
it
ball,
comes
it's like, hey
down to
bud, let's go down here and
is
get it right.
you have to have a realistic view on what your kid can do.
Yes. Yes.
I think if you played the game and you've been around the game your whole life
Yeah.
and you know the game inside and out, but yet you still learn everything daily. Don't get me wrong. I think coaching is one of those things. It's like you still should go on about and learn stuff.
Absolutely. Nonstop.
That's part of like teaching that if you are coaching your son, you have to be realistic. I
Yeah.
think I learned real quick. I got a lesson in when I say this is saying, like you just said, that you're harder on them. Don't get me wrong, very hard on mine. I had the mentality of saying, look, man, I'm gonna treat you like everybody else, but you're gonna be pushed harder
Yep.
because I don't want other parents, even though it may happen. Don't get me wrong. Now I think I had I had at least my understanding. I had a great group of parents.
Yep.
If they complained, it was under the breath to other people, and really no more. There was no drama on the team.
Yeah.
As far maybe I was being oblivious to it because I'm very come
Hey.
practice, coach the kids, do this with the kids.
Yep.
take my ass home and shut you out like
Yeah,
that.
you gotta be, man.
But
You gotta be.
what was brought to my attention is saying, you don't single your kids out sometimes. Like, yeah, you're harder on them, but be careful how you do that because sometimes you still single them out in the wrong way because you're being tougher on them and you're yelling at them or you're harder on them and you're making them do the extra push-ups and all that. That it shows almost a negative side to it
Yep.
instead of saying, okay, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing everything right, and you're going to
Yep.
bat lead off, you're going to be the starting pitcher, you're going to do
Yep.
like. I think what happens is I think when that was brought to my attention and go, shit, I did that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he messed up. Some other kid did that, but yet I was harder on him for doing it than the other kid.
Yep.
The other kid just got a little talking to and a little lashing, but he got a big lashing and was made to run.
Yep.
You know,
You got
but
a
at
group
the
of.
same time, I never felt it was right to just give him a pass because of who he was,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh no.
and
Well, yeah.
that's I think that's the hard part is where the balance of it is because, you know, I always sit there and say, if you want to talk to me about your son's playing time, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be realistic with you. If you want to question me about my son and his playing time, I'll be more than happy to tell you what my thinking is. Hey, you may not like it or make you think, but guess what? I know is your kid working outside of practice. I can tell you right now, I know what my kid does.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that, he would go in, he would hit 60, 70 balls a day. Is your kid doing that? Is your kid showing up to, prior to a tournament the night before saying, I want to go get swings in?
Yeah.
Or, hey, we don't play till 2 o'clock. Can we get up and go early so I can get swings in?
Yeah.
Or are your kids showing up just, okay, I'm here early, we'll wait till everybody gets going and then I'll get going.
Yeah. Dude shoes
Like,
on. Last
yeah,
one in the cage, or doesn't even make it to the cage. Dude shoes on. Last one out to the field to play catch. First three or
yeah,
four balls go over somebody's head. We're
yeah.
we're changing the playlist. We're getting our sunglasses on the hat right, or on our face right.
Man,
Getting the oven
it's
mitts in the
like,
back pocket right.
it's like, I think that's what, it's like when people say the mantra of daddy ball compared to, in reality, I'll tell you this. I know a bunch of guys that have coaching their sons right now. I can tell you right now, some of their sons are probably the best player on their teams that I've seen. And why?
That's the other
Because
way that happens.
Because I know how their dads are with their kids and make them do twice the amount of work
Yeah.
outside of it all.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you know, I also seem like I'm fair. Like, okay, hey, he's hitting the ball. He puts the ball in play. He does this. You know, he does what I ask him to do. But he ain't hitting. God forbid, I ain't putting him in a leadoff spot just because he's my son.
Yeah.
Tell you right now, if my son was leader of the team and he's batting 500, 600, and he's driving in runs, bat four hole.
Yeah.
If he's on base, all the time, walks, getting hits, and he's stealing bases, lead off.
If you're and that's the thing is if your kid and that's again it goes to if your kid's putting in the work and if you're pushing them to do it and they want to do it, if your
Yeah,
kid is putting in the work and the production is on the field, then
yeah,
it doesn't matter. You can call it daddy ball, you can call what it is. It goes right, and it's funny because if you think about this all comes back to full circle to where we started this.
uh-huh.
It's a perception of the other kid and what
Yeah,
their parents see and what they don't want to see out there. So
yeah,
All right, dad's kid. He's dad's kid. Okay, let's look at the stats. This is random lady or random scorekeeper mom, not
Uh-huh.
kid's mom. This is scorekeeper or the what's it called, score track thing.
Game changer.
Yep.
Game
So
changer
there's
mom.
yeah there's
Yeah.
game changer. North Kansas City League. They're doing it behind the games or whoever's doing it wherever. So here's tournament director or tournament assistant doing game changer, keeping the stats. That's
Mm-hmm.
those they don't know whose kid is whose. They have no idea other than the last name on that. They have no fucking
Yep.
clue. So dad's kid goes out, has, let's just get crazy with it, has a 675 average, hits four
Uh-huh.
tanks, drives in a winning run, has 11 ribbies, you know, just kills it. Plays solid defense, okay? Little Timmy is out there, puts up a 234, strikes out 14 times, has one RBI, didn't really hit the
Yeah.
ball real well.
Yeah.
Parent comes up to you and says, "Oh, your kid's playing because it's daddy ball." Okay, here's that stat line
Yep.
again, and you're like, as the coach, you don't want, and they're gonna go, "Oh, it's daddy ball" because you're the coach, and that's where, as an evolution of a coach, that's where you hope the coaches that are with you, like that aren't daddy, are there
Mm-hmm.
to also be in that role to make that comment or
Yeah.
talk to that parent and be like, all right, let me tell you, let me tell you what I see, and I'm not their dad. Like,
Yeah.
here's where he's at. Here's the work he's putting in. We love little Timmy.
Yeah.
We think the world of little Timmy, but this kid's over here and has spent the last 2 hours on a Tuesday night taking BP and then fielding ground balls. Little
Mm-hmm.
Timmy had Tommy and Bobby over. We had a pizza party and have been playing Fortnite and VR for the last 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He came out here and had a tournament. He came out here and didn't. He was frustrated when he got out. He
Mm-hmm.
was asking the coaches, or he was upset that he made a bad play or had a bad swing.
Uh-huh.
He's over here, doesn't give a shit. Dad's up his ass, ripping all into him.
Yeah.
Shoulders are still shrugging. He's still looking
Yeah.
down on his phone. He's thinking to
Yeah.
himself, is this over yet? Do we
Yeah.
have to be here? And it doesn't bother him at all.
Yeah.
Is it daddy ball? Is that daddy ball? Or is that exactly where we're going, like what you're saying with this? Or is that just how it is now, with the difference in how you perceive your kids, how you push your kids, how you want them to be maybe what they're not, how you
Yeah.
don't accept that maybe there's something better for them, and
Yeah.
how you don't realize that maybe rec ball is where we need to be so they can just fucking enjoy what the talent might not be there to do. Because
You know,
there are so many other things kids can be talented at besides sports, and other
yeah.
sports that they're extremely talented at. And every parent should know that they're going to have that push, that all the shit they want to do with this
Right.
one, they can
That
do it in
drive,
another
yeah.
sport. Like, if that's how you want to do it, you can do it that they can do it in that sport too. And hey,
Hey,
it might work
a-
out perfect for you.
and I've said that too. It's just like, just because, and I told my boys this year is like, just because I will never discourage any kid want to play baseball, but I said, if you have a love and a passion for another sport
Yeah,
and you excel in another sport, there's nothing wrong with saying I want to excel in that sport, but have still kind of the work ethic to when you come and play baseball to say, okay, I'm just not here just to be here.
yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Give a
don't
shit.
just, yeah, like,
Just give a shit. You
give
don't have to be
like
great.
you want.
Just give a shit.
Don't act like Mike. It's like I have a pet peeve with it, and it's like, I would, don't, it's just like I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your time being out here. If you don't want to have this conversation with your mom and dad, talk to me. I'll have this conversation with your mom and dad.
Yeah,
If you're not having fun with it, but I think it goes back to the fact is I think it kind of falls back to we say how kids see playing the outfield as a punishment.
Yeah.
I
Or
think
yeah.
the mantra is, and especially nowadays, is your buddies are going, "Oh, I play for, this organization, that organization. I play for comp ball." That now the mantra is, if you play rec ball, it's almost like you're not good enough for a punishment.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, he
Not
just plays rec ball. It's
not
like,
not the fact that you're playing just because you love to play,
yeah.
and league nights is your thing. And I've heard tons of parents say, "Look, man, we were doing the competitive thing. We quit doing it for one, the bullshit that goes along with it, and the fact that it took away from family time,
Yeah.
which I totally get. Like, there's nights I'll sit here and go, fuck, at the ball fields on Monday,
Right.
at the ball fields on Tuesday, at the ball fields on, Wednesday, ball fields on Thursday, may have a break on Friday
Right.
just to turn around and be at the ball fields back Saturday and Sunday. That's if we didn't have a game scheduled for Friday evening.
Right.
Like,
It's still mud.
and I'm gonna say this, tournament directors, I don't care who you are in youth sports, quit having parents don't schedule a fucking 5 o'clock game time on a
Yeah, that's
Friday.
stupid.
Parents work.
I know. Yeah, that's dumb. And then they got to travel half the time. I hate that.
Five
This is
o'clock, 8 a.m. No sense in having an 8 a.m. game.
no. The
9
other
a.m. is perfect.
the other thing I was going to say.
You can start a pool game at 7 p.m. That way it gives them enough time to get home. That some like, I'm fortunate. Don't get me wrong. I work from home. It's a little easier because of my job. Don't get me
Oh man,
wrong. Some people don't.
no, and dude, and it's even in high school, man. High school baseball games at 4:30. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong, but do you know how many? Like, I had to get off early, like half the school, like half a baseball season, to get to ball games on time. Like, I can't be like, or I have to go in at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning so I can get off on time to get to the goddamn baseball game. I'm like,
Hey, come on, man.
and I mean, I get it. I mean, the team's got to travel and shit, but it's like, good lord. But
But
what I was going to say, another thing too, when we talked about rec ball, and it's funny you said that. So I had a couple boys that like played for us that were younger. They're a year younger than Brayton, and so they were freshmen this year. And I was really excited to see like them come back, like and
yeah,
start their high school careers and stuff. And at the time, like I don't know how. Like I like their parents a lot, so I don't know how they perceived it all. But I know last year when our boys had like became freshmen and we didn't have the summer ball team again, I knew it put some of those kids in a situation where they had to either decide to find new teams or play rec league. And I know a couple of them for sure played rec league, and I know just from what I saw this year. Now I didn't get to see him play rec league at all. I got stories from them of how they did, of course, and I think, and we've hit on this a lot too. I think, especially boys going to be freshmen, these are teenagers.
Yeah.
I think the amount of pressure these kids put on themselves these days to be the one hitter, the three hitter, the cleanup guy, to be the pitcher, that I think the amount of pressure they put on themselves hurts them because they are not mature enough whatsoever at all yet to handle putting that kind of weight on their shoulders that young. And it sometimes I think that these young kids, the pressure they put on themselves is not parental. A lot of it, I think it goes back to what they see online, the social media aspect of it, the things they're exposed to now and see. I think that like nowadays you see every young freak daddy athlete ever, with an Instagram feed, or they're
I'm
starting
glad
with
you said that.
you're starting with, like this fucking baby Gronk shit and shit like that.
Yeah.
You see this stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
when we were growing up and younger,
Yeah.
like we didn't see this shit. Like, I remember
Okay.
I don't remember none of that shit. I remember a kid from Plattsburgh they called Teat the Heat that was supposed to be the man. That kid, whatever happened to him, sorry Teat, you
Let,
suck.
let me let me ask you this, because since you brought the kid's name up, Baby
Yeah,
Gronk. The kid now, because now you have the social media.
yeah,
The kid now, you're setting him to, like, to me, if you go back to oh, god dang it, he was an old quarterback from USC, uh long blonde hair.
you talking about Todd
God,
Marinovich?
Todd Marinovich, and how his dad was.
Yeah,
I think what happens is now we have these kids like Baby Gronk
yeah,
that are coming up at this, what, 10, 11, whatever his age is,
yeah,
that already talk about he's committed to Texas or
yeah, exactly.
Georgia, wherever the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, the kid don't know
That,
shit yet,
that
man.
pressure is also brought to him along because of his dad, who's okay with putting all this crap on social media,
Yeah,
or his
it
parents.
enables it.
Like, and when you say that, it's because I go back to saying, when we talked about how we grew up, we watched the sport, we wonder,
Yeah,
we emulated the swings of King Griffey Jr. and this stuff. I think the difference is too is that social media has made things easier. Now, I have kids on my team that could tell you who Max Clark is
oh yeah,
because of social media.
oh
I
yeah,
can have kids who tell you who Paul Skeens is because
absolutely,
of social media.
exactly.
But you can't. But then when I say, okay, because these guys have big, followings on YouTube and Instagram and all this stuff, you know, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but like Max Clark's a freak of nature.
Yeah,
Paul Skeens is a freak of nature.
yeah,
Can you tell me about, say, Tamar Johnson, who is also a top rookie
yeah,
coming in the Pittsburgh thing that was after Paul Skeens?
exactly.
That's one of the top players. Like, because social media has hyped a lot of these guys up and
Yeah,
these kids follow. That's
and it's
why the
it's
drip.
image,
That's
man.
why,
Yeah, it's the image.
hey, that's why these kids want their eye black war a certain way. They
Yep,
want the Max Clark Bruce Bolts. They
yep,
want to wear the tight mid cut pants
yeah.
because of that.
And man, they see that stuff and they don't, because they're young. They don't understand the work that goes
Yes.
into what those guys do. Not just the drip and what they look like, not just the image,
Yeah.
like the work behind it, because they're too
Yeah.
young to understand it. And where I was going with like the kids that I was talking about from that I had is I know playing with us, even though we weren't like, a big AAA major or any of that crap, playing with us, being one of the younger kids, you wanted the coaches to, give you that attention to. And I
Yeah.
wish to God, I could have gave them more attention
Mm-hmm.
because I would have loved to. And to this day I wish they, if they ever needed anything, I always keep the open door. They're welcome to come to me with any baseball stuff. But I think what happened and what helped them is when they went to that rec ball, it gave them a chance to take a fucking breath
Yeah.
and get back into get some confidence back that they desperately needed
Yeah.
to go into high school ball maybe a little more relaxed. I mean, I know still nervous as
Mm-hmm.
shit, but being able to know that, you know, that you had that time of like to enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
to maybe have more fun and not put so much stress on yourself,
Yeah.
or
I,
know
I
that
I think
the pressure that you put on yourself, you might have in some of the rec ball situations a ball that might not land here because the skill level all the way around is better, might
yeah.
be a gap hit because it just it lands there or a kid doesn't misread it and stuff. That confidence
Yeah.
grows. It's like when you're at a higher level, how we say it. It's like man, right now a tween or a duck to get you on base, man. You take wherever it falls, you're taking it.
Yeah.
And that not having that pressure, I think too, when you realize it and take some kids back to rec ball, it's good for them
Hmm.
because what I saw now is the talent was there the whole time,
Yeah.
and they just needed to fucking breathe and relax a
Sometimes
little bit.
I think we've gotten to a point where it's I read something and it was like, okay, we have a thing in people. I saw one of the arguments on social media was, you know, about having these kids specialize in one sport all year round and do all that. Which I go, here's the thing, and they're like, well, it, when you go to baseball, saying, well, Dominican kids play all year round, that's not an issue. But I think what happens is and like the Latin kids or anything like that in the Latin cultures, that they play baseball all year round. They're doing all this stuff all year round, and they train all year round. I said, but I think the difference is when you're above the normal financial means,
Mhm.
and you can afford what has become such a big business in youth sports here in America, that you're living comfortably, your kids are living comfortably.
Yeah,
That the difference is those kids down in Latin countries are trying to get out of the poverty they live in.
I actually
That's
I
that's
had
the
this
biggest difference.
conversation with buddy Brett. We were giving each other back and forth on Facebook, having a conversation about
Uh huh.
kind of this stuff, and he actually mentioned, look at all the Latino kids and stuff that work at it all the time. And one of the comments I actually made to him was, I'm like, they do that because one, it's pretty much it's their national pastime there, and two,
Yeah.
they do it more because it's a possible way for them to get out of the poverty and the situation they're in. It's there's so much more to it than what
Just
we have
saying. Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's they might not have options. And that's that, and for a lot of them that is their option.
Yeah.
That's
It
and then
is.
here we have, man, if you're not good at any of the however many major sports there are,
Yeah.
there's always pickleball.
Hey,
There's
that's
always,
coming up big now.
yeah, there's always axe throwing. There's hacky
But
sack. There's curling.
it's like I think with the differences too, and I think it's like you have to look at the culture and the fact that things are becoming so specialized, it's like, is it? I call it the ROI, return on investment. I just had this conversation with my boy. It's not about what it cost.
Yeah,
I hear the arguments. Yes, I could take the money that I'm paying for you to play in a club for an organization, put it aside, put it towards, you know, college, whatever it is afterwards. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
You know, but if this is something you want to do, something you love to do, I will continue to support you no matter what.
yeah.
Plain and simple. Because at the end of the day, something when I pass or all that stuff, my money doesn't come with me.
Yeah, right.
If you get something out of it, I don't have you in this to the fact that it's like, oh, you're going to become a D1 athlete.
Mhm.
I have you in this so you learn. You learn skills. You learn
Yeah,
life skills. You learn failure. You learn how to play a sport. I think sports are great for all kids,
yeah,
no matter what it is: football, basketball, wrestling, shit, field hockey,
right.
soccer, whatever it
Well,
is.
because it
It
teaches them so much
teaches you
about
the
life,
ups
man.
and downs.
Yeah, it teaches them so much about life.
It teaches you that internal battle, that internal motivation, that internal, what gets you pumped up, what doesn't.
Yeah,
It's like that's worth more to me than anything. Like that's what it boils down to. But like with me, I think it's like in the realm of the world thing. That's why at the beginning I said, is it become more of a social status for parents more than what it should be used for?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I'm a realistic. I'll be realistic with my son. Hey, do I think you could play college ball? Possibly. But you got to be a one of a 1%.
Huh?
You have to be realistic.
Yeah.
Do I see it? Possibly. Do you have the work ethic to get there? Anybody can do it as long as they put their mind to it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Like any ball player, I think has a chance of playing at least college ball. It's the work ethic they put into it. And the problem is sometimes parents push these kids because they didn't have that shot. They wanted that shot. And now you got little Timmy over here who's burnt out
Yeah.
because he just doesn't want to live daddy's dreams.
Yeah. Or daddy got it, made it, did this thing, and daddy can't let it go. Like,
Yeah.
I get, some you get that too. Some of them, they did it all. They got where they wanted to. They accomplished it,
And
and they just
I
can't let
think
it go.
you have coaches that are that way.
Oh, there's
I'm
no doubt.
sorry.
There's no
I'll be
doubt.
the first one. I'll be the first one to say this. Look, man, I tell my boy this, I tell like my boys this. Look, man, I ain't living through you kids. I've been where you are. I've
Yeah.
been where you probably want to go, and I've played some of the best talent in the city. I played the best talent in the area, and the state, and around the country. Guess what? A trophy means nothing to me.
Right.
I am giving back what the game gave to me.
Yeah.
I'm giving back to the game that I love in hopes that one day there's some kid that can go, man, Coach Dave was the
Right.
one that helped me.
Yeah.
Coach Dave was the one that, he inspired me to say, I can continue to do this.
Yeah.
Or man, yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm playing college basketball right now. But I remember my coach, my baseball coach, who was always encouraging and did this, did that, and pushed us to get better.
And
So
it's one of those things, like when you say that, I always laugh because I look at it like this, like, I will, like with Braden's guys and stuff, when I chop it up bullshit with them, I will tell every one of my stories of what I used to be able to do and did to any of them that'll hear it.
yeah.
I'll relive them and Uncle Rico
Oh,
it
they laugh at me when I
with,
say
yeah.
it.
I'll tell you all about it, and I'll say it with a big grin on my face. And by God, if I physically could still do it, I'd get out there and do it with you every time. But at the
That's what
same
I
time,
tell them.
I see it for what it is. I'm a short, overweight, unliked by many, not many friend, just fucking guy that might not make it to be
Hey,
50. That's just trying to
hey,
live my last years better than I lived all the ones before that in a
you
different
ever,
kind of way. And I don't got time for anybody else that wants to get in the way of that. But at the same time, if I coach them or if I
man,
talk to them, I want them to be able to look back on the boys that are their age when they get to our age and be able to tell
oh,
them same fucking stories
man, I
and
tell you
give them
what,
the yesteryears and do the same thing. And I hope that all of them are not just short motherfucker, short fat little
yeah,
bastards just ready to go. Just day
I
by day.
have,
I hope they're successful, amazing, but I still
I
want them to
have
go back and tell them
one.
stories.
I love this story because I had one of my kids. We were sitting there. It was at a practice, I believe. Oh, he was throwing. He was doing a little throwing. And I was watching his bullpen. And he threw something, and he goes, "Oh, did you see that strike, coach?" And I just looked him dead in his face. I said, "I took that 450 dead
Yep,
center."
I love that was
And he yelled, "What?" I said, "Dude, I took that 450
I
just gone."
I say that,
So,
like, I'll say that shit to Braden and them all the time. Like, I'll
oh,
watch one of the kids pitch in high school and stuff. I'll look
so
at Ashley and I'll be like, oh, I'd have fucking hit that a mile.
I sit there. And I never forget, we were in a game. I was sitting in at the dugout, I was watching the game. You know, he was getting ready to come on deck. The kid hit the ball, solid, got caught. And I said, "Damn!" I said, he goes all like, I said, "Damn, that was a good hit." He turned around, looked at, he goes, "But you would have took that 450 dead center though, wasn't you, coach?" I'm
Yep,
like, "Damn
goddamn
right, I
right,
would."
damn right. I love it. That's great.
But man, that's the thing, man. It's like I don't live. It ain't about trophies for me.
I mean,
It's about giving back to the sport that I grew up playing. I loved. That took me a long way. Got me to meet a lot of people. We'll see a lot of things. Play with some of the best players around. Some of my best teammates, and that drove me into other sports. That got to meet other people. Man,
man,
and I think
it's the bigger picture of you getting to give your passion to somebody else or let them see what
yeah,
you love. Like,
yeah,
what you're passionate about. It's one of those things where we're also lucky if we get to teach anybody or show anybody our passion to let somebody know you love something that much, like that you are
and I
passionate about
think
something.
that is what's lost in youth sports today.
For sure, for sure.
I get it. It's a business anymore. I get that. It's a big business. Like, organizations are businesses.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
people. I think what
Oh,
gets me is parents. Even myself, as funny as being, it's like you coaching and being the parent too. It's like you complain about the price of tournaments or entry fees or stuff like that. And it's all like I get it because it's a business. You still got to pay umpires. You still got to pay
yeah,
the people who sit at the gates all day
yeah,
long in the heat. You know
yeah. That money trains. It's
it.
ever. It's
I,
all
I
part of it.
I get it. These people have to make a living too, and I think what's wrong is people think that people should just be, oh, that's I'm doing this for the community. No, man, it's a business out there. God damn it, I work for a business that we make our business
Yeah,
making uniforms for
yeah,
the same
off of
kids.
them kids.
Like I get it,
Yeah,
but at the same time, you have to understand that there's people out there that actually love to give back to the sport
yeah,
because they have done something with the sport in their life.
right.
Not all of them are about winning trophies. Some of them are about actually developing your kids. Some of them care and not just out there just because some people do get paid to coach.
Well, and it's funny you say business thing, and this I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm gonna. So you look at, I still am able to sell ball bats,
Yeah,
and I still do, and I know a lot of people have this perception of what really goes on there and stuff, and me and stuff, and it's been this way for years, man. Like I ever since when I stopped beards and bats, I haven't made
yeah,
any money at all after that. I had my run, I made plenty of it. I haven't made a dime off of any of the bats
yeah,
I sold anymore. And when I quote somebody, I quote them what I get them for, and
yeah,
most of the time, or what retail is, or I try to quote them, what we can quote them for, and I try to
yeah,
get everybody taken care of the best way I can. It's nothing.
yeah,
I'm never gonna, undercut what I have to hit as a rule of thumb, but at
yeah,
the same time, I'm never gonna I'm not doing it to make a whole bunch of extra money. I'm doing it because I want parents and the kids to be able to have, the best they can at the best price they can that's,
yeah.
that's fair and, you know, and it's the
And
same
that,
kind of thing. That's kind of my way of being able to give back a little bit is if I can save you $20, save you forty
yeah,
bucks and I'm still holding up my end of the bargain with the dealer and everything's
yeah,
I'm hitting what they're telling me and asking me to sell it for, and I'm still doing that. Then that's one of the ways of giving back, and that's kind of always been my way of doing it. It's like another part of it is it's like you're saying, like every part of it, whether it's coaching, whether it's just come over here and let me talk to you about it. You know,
yeah. This
you know,
and that's and that's what it is. And man, and I think a lot of times is I think in youth sports in general, it's things have gotten lost,
yeah,
misconstrued.
oh yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
the days of it's just like it used to be, and like I say this now, it's like Legion Ball.
Oh yeah,
Or the as they say, it's dying. Well, Legion Balls, you know, in some
not
areas it's dying. Like around in Kansas City, it's not what it used to be.
no. I
People are
remember it.
trying
I
to bring
loved
it
it.
back, which is awesome. I mean, in some areas, in the small communities, you still have all stars,
Hmm.
which is awesome because now you're taking some of the best kids in that area.
Yeah, they off each
But
team.
I think what happens is we have lost that, hey, we're from the Legion Ball, we're from this post made up of all these group of kids, and
Yep.
then we're going to go play this other post
Yep.
made up
Representing.
of these, and it becomes town rivalry.
Yeah.
That's long gone.
Yeah, it is.
It's like I'm sure up being in Lawson, you had your certain towns up there that Excelsior Springs was probably
Well, we
you had your
were. It's funny. Post 236 was Dutt coached us
yeah
in Legion, and it was Excelsior, Lawson, and Richmond. But
yeah
We played Kearney, Liberty,
yeah.
guys like that. So yeah.
So it's like those days, because now with organizations, everything's so spread out.
Mhm.
And now it's becoming the fact that everybody is now organizations are popping up everywhere. It was in my area, it was just like a few years ago, there was maybe two. Now we're up to six. And don't get me wrong, Blue Springs is but Blue Springs is not as big as you think it is.
Yeah.
So now all the town is getting thinned out, thinner and thinner and thinner.
Yep.
So now you're grabbing, kids from this area and that area. You build like that sense of rivalry. It's like, I like my wife would say, like when she grew up in Blue Springs, the it was Blue Springs against Blue Springs South.
Yeah.
That was the rivalry.
Yeah.
Now these kids are so intertwined with we have an effect, and I call it not laugh. I said, these kids nowadays, it's like the LeBron James factor. Not look, this has nothing to do with how I feel towards LeBron James. It's like LeBron James is very dominant, and he's go down as one of the legends and greatest all time, greatest to play the game.
Yeah.
I won't say greatest all time. I'm sorry I even said that.
MJ. We already know.
LeBron and KD, that general area, they play because they like to be liked. They want to be liked by their peers.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they gave no fucks.
Hell no. Asshole.
They were assholes. And I think it's like I try to tell, one of the assistant coaches kind of he has the mentality of me. We had a kid hit a bomb off of us, don't get me wrong. And one of the players, he came around the bag, gave him a high five. That lit fire.
Hmm.
And one of the assistant coaches let him know about it. We don't do that shit. We don't do that shit during the game. You okay, after the game,
Yeah. As
hey
game
man,
come, nice
that
bomb.
was a great fucking hit. I think that mentality is like, and I try to tell them, you guys got to be dogs. You got to have like an asshole mentality. And I think that's where I try to keep track, because I still have that very competitive nature and that assholeness about me. Like I hate losing.
Yeah.
And it's like you try to have that in kids who are not built that way.
Yeah, they're not at all. They're
And
much more.
and when I told them, I sit there, I said, here's the thing, like when I played ball, I didn't give a fuck if it was my grandmother or my mother in that other dugout. I wanted to go in there and beat their ass. And then
Okay.
afterwards, give me about 10 minutes.
And then we're good.
We're good.
Yep.
I can be your friend afterwards. Right now, when I'm competing,
Yeah.
and I've competed against some of my best friends.
Yep.
When we were on, and because what happens is that rivalry thing is now, oh, you one up me this year. I'm coming back next year and we're going to get your ass.
I always think like you Rockhounds when I had my Hoys boys.
Yeah.
Like when you would catch or something, like, if I had $1 for everybody that like all the guys on my team that would try to talk to you, and they were like, I think you and me used to have this kind of like ongoing laugh about it, because they were like, what the fuck's wrong with Dave, man? And I'm like, it's just how he is, man. He gets into it. He's a gamer. We ain't buddies right now. We'll be buddies when we're done, but right now he don't fucking like you.
People, that's what never understood me, because people get, I remember when you bring up slow pitch a little bit, and I had to catch.
Yeah.
And
That was
people
what,
like,
yeah.
man, you going to pick up the bat? I'm like, no. Why?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm pick up their bat for?
Right.
That's their teammates could pick it up. I would get locked in. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I cared about my teammates. That was it.
Yeah, I get
We'll
it.
be friends after.
No, I get it.
I was at one. It's like, and if I like growing up, man, and like some of my closest friends that I played against, so you start off on this team together, then you split up and play. So as you got older, you start playing those all-star teams. Dude, I was that way. I was a shit talker. Always have been.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm gonna talk shit to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, what, dude? Like, stand at first base. What's up, Dave?
Right.
Like 2 words to you.
Yep.
Dude, what's wrong with you? Ignore you. And come up afterwards, man. You all right, man? Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I'm a competitor, man. We ain't friends.
I get it.
We're friends afterwards, right?
Yep.
When we get on the court, on the field, in between the lines, we're not friends.
No, and it's there's
I did not want you to one up me anyway,
no,
possible
no.
at all.
You're there to win.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what's different between the kids nowadays. I think that's what youth sports becomes. Everybody wants to be well liked.
Yep.
They want to have this thing like, oh, well, I play for so and so. Well, I play for so and so. Well, I got the sweat. Well, my team name is Rawlings Bombers.
Right.
We wear Rawlings gear. Well, okay, so what?
And
Like, guess what?
Yeah. Shout
Like,
out. It's one of those things too. It's like, all right, cool. It's like, hey, look, man, I drive a fucking Lamborghini. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. You're still a dick, and nobody likes you.
but man, well, shit, man. I know it's youth sports. I can go on and on about it, but man,
Yeah.
it's just like, we started talking, and then it was like kind of wanted to talk about today because it's like I've been reading out, because man, it goes even deeper, man. When you talk about coaches who are using these kids and their pitching arms, and like at 10 years old throwing over 100 pitches in the games, and pitchers 150, almost 200 pitches a weekend for
It's too much.
12-year-olds. It's like all for not even $5 trophies. Is it that? That's where it all stems down from, this whole thing with youth sports, because it's like, end of the day, no one's going to care about how many tournaments you won at 10 years old.
No.
No one's going to care about what your batting average was at 13 years old.
No.
And let's be honest, no one's going to give a shit what you batted at, your batting average was in high school.
No. And the funny thing is
unless you make it to the pros.
Yeah.
And eventually they make this conversation of, well, you were in high school, you realize he batted 750? A little different.
Yeah. Because
I saw a little creep behind me.
I did too. I always laugh too, because you think of it this way. It's like, it's great. Like I said, I'll go tell anybody about how I, like, back in the day I could do this and that. And I'm like, but now, where I'm at in life right now, the most impressive thing about me is that I'm still fucking breathing and can get out of bed. Like, and if you batted 750 in high school, and your high school I see you, and your high school career ends right there with that, and you go on to be a doctor. Do you think the fact that you're a brain surgeon and have saved 1,000 lives, do you think anybody's going to give a darn if you said, you're up there and you're like, you're getting an award for something a doctor, or you discover something, you're up there getting your award, and all of a sudden you say, oh, and guess what? I batted 700 in high school. Yeah, ain't no one gonna, man. It's all about, I think the trophy thing and stuff is just overblown.
Yeah.
Maybe parents want to keep them as a memory of how good their kid was when they were 10. But I also look at it like, when you have a birthday party for a 1-year-old, is that birthday party for your mom and the parent? Is that for the parents, or is that for the kid?
For the parents.
Exactly. And
you want to say hi to everybody?
A lot of them trophies the same way. Hi. Oh boy. What are you doing?
All right. You say hi? All right. We're almost done. See, that's what's great about our show. You get stuff like that.
You don't get that on the other one.
No, you don't.
I saw
But
Carly go behind me a minute ago. I don't know where she went or if she's still behind me. But
yeah. Well, man, the end of the show's coming. Man, I know we started this a long time ago about shameless plugs.
no.
I tell you what, I got a plug, a shameless plug I got to give. First of all, I'll give a true plug. Zerk
Boom, there it
Athletics.
is.
I figure we'll start doing this at the end.
Oh yeah.
So, I said, I had to rearrange stuff and no longer could get the banner behind me, but still shout out Berserk Athletics for all the fine custom uniform stuff. Man, it's not cold anymore, so I don't really use the Burt's Bees as much.
Yeah.
Except when it gets sunny and get out the ball fields, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I am always, always been kind of wanting sunglasses.
Yeah.
I've gone through sunglasses. I've tried the Oakleys. I've tried cheaper versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, I got a big head.
I get you.
Even some of the things with Oakleys and the big head that they said that's for bigger faces
Mm-hmm.
still just doesn't quite fit right.
Right.
I've looked online, I've done research, I've done all kinds of stuff. But man, believe it or not, I come across this brand that said and what drew me to it is they had a picture of a guy who looked like a big Samoan guy,
Yeah.
big Islander. Maybe he maybe even be Mexican, who knows? Got a face like mine or yours. Had great kind of little black gray beard
Yeah.
too. And he had these sunglasses on. Said it's made for the big headed guys.
Oh.
When I read some of the first things was, you make the sunglasses that don't pinch. It caused the headaches because that was one of my biggest things.
Right.
Sitting there, accidentally put one in the cart. Didn't think nothing. Went over, he's like, hey, went back and forth. Like, I ain't gonna. It wasn't. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like Oakley or Ray-Ban type money.
Yeah.
But it was underneath it, but it wasn't cheap. So
Yeah,
it's
it's one
kind
of
of in
those where
between.
you're like, you kind of want them, but you're kind of on like that instant buyer's remorse.
Like,
But you're still
yeah,
there.
if I spend this, is
Yeah.
it? Am I gonna hate? I get it. Gonna be, man, why did I spend money on it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not like, because now I sit here and I laugh because I got my, my boy is now wearing my $200 pair of Oakleys that I had.
Yeah.
Which oddly enough now he doesn't wear because he rather wear the $30 Folkleys.
Of course. Of course.
Because not on top of the other $60 sunglasses that he
Right.
has.
Yep.
It comes all down to this, like we said, you sports in this whole swag game. But
Yep.
anyway, back to what I'm saying. Faded Days sunglasses.
Okay.
Shout
Nice.
out.
There you go.
Actually,
Yeah.
fit the big head.
Them are good looking glasses too.
I had to give them a shout out because man, I have been looking for sunglasses to fit my big head, and they're kind of sleek looking.
Yeah, those are good looking.
Man, I've embraced this whole dad thing, the whole dad vibe. Dude, I rock the high socks with the white shoes.
Oh yeah.
If I could get a pair of Air Monarchs, I'd probably rock those too. But man, I'd get just a
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it.
sleek looking, faded days. So if you're watching, you got a big head and have an issue with sunglasses, check them out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
They got different styles, different looks.
I like it.
Hey man, probably one of the happiest accidental purchases I ever made.
Those are the best kind ever. Like
That makes me go back. It's like, God damn, now I need another pair.
yeah, those are the best thing ever. So like when you buy something and you just you're not really sure, you're on the fence, and it ends up being just awesome. You're like, yes.
Hey, and I still say Amazon still fancy like your Stanleys.
Old Stanley.
Fucking way cheaper.
Right? Right?
Man. Anyway, man, let's we can touch on it too. We both with some minor league hats.
I got the little storm chasers, a little off like the baby blue and the blacks.
Yeah. You know,
I
I'd sport the Copa, one of the Copa hats.
That one's sweet. I
Little
like it.
flaming hot sausage in there.
I like it. It's funny. You'd laugh. So this kind of shocked me. Like I said, we'll touch on this later, but I kind of like mental health wise have been a little off for a few weeks ish now. So
Yeah.
like that's been fucking with me. But you'd be shocked. This is how you know how you can always tell like probably you and me are off is there was a Noble North hat drop, which I don't miss ever.
Yeah.
And like there was one the other day, and it was for like one of the great like horned owls, which is sick. And the color schemes,
Yeah.
and I just kind of was just like. Then I missed out on my T-Mobile Tuesday 30% on New Eras. Just kind of been in a funk and was like, So yeah, man, when we was getting ready to do the show tonight and thinking about it, I'm like,
I missed that too.
Yeah, I'm like, I was looking through the hats. I'm like, I got plenty. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, man, it's been a long time. I gotta get ready, And then the good news is, I feel good about this because as we get going back in the groove again, before we know it, it'll be fall, and we'll get that October baseball. But then that football starts, and I love me that because then the whole other hat. We got the whole other side of the hats come out.
All other section comes out.
Because then we get the Lions and the Chiefs.
Well, man, I know, like I said, it was back. It's been a month. Yeah. We'll get this back rolling up again. Like I said, I know tryouts are coming up. Boy is, he wants to try one thing, try another thing. And I told him, man, just do what you want to do.
Right.
Do tryouts because I think you try out anywhere, get feedback from different coaches, I think is huge. So it tells you where your weak spots are, maybe where your strengths are. It's one thing to hear it from me.
Yep. It's another thing to hear it from somebody else.
Other coaches have been around you, but to hear it from other people, I think is a tremendous tool.
It is.
It is the NILs and the bidding wars of youth sports, where it's funny you said little Timmy is on his fourth tryout in his fourth year for his fourth team, and you got Coach Tommy over here who's selling you the dream of playing D1 baseball, and do everything you can to get you to sign your kid up with the organization. Right. So I always say, man, if you're happy with the organization, stay with the organization. Exactly. If you're happy with independent team, stay with your independent team. There's benefits and there's cons to both of them, man. You just got to choose the right one for you.
Right. Don't forget, at the end of the day, it's about the baseball, man.
It's about the youth sport. It's about the kid. Whether it's basketball, football. Youth football's actually surprised me how it's that way now. Yeah. It's like all these sports are becoming year round, which is sometimes I think maybe a little much.
A lot.
Especially when you got youth coaches threatening players that if you go stay with baseball and you want to play football, you're not going to get playing time. Or if you don't make it to, conditioning, off-season conditioning because, you decide you want to play a little fall ball and baseball is your first love. You hurt kids because kids just want to play.
Right. Agreed.
Stop. Football, youth baseball coach the same way. Hey, it's January. That's basketball season. Let kids play basketball. Yeah. Don't punish them because they're
focused on what they're playing at the time.
You just hope to God they're putting in work some way somehow so they don't fall behind.
Right. They're focused on what they're playing at the time.
Yeah. Let them play. Let them figure it out what they love.
Exactly.
Like don't force a kid, man. That's my big thing. But other than that, man, I ain't got anything else. You got anything more?
Oh man, hopefully we can get on here again soon.
Yeah, we'll get on here real soon. Out.